Hello guys, this is Julia from Just One More Card, and I will show you today how you can use some of your really tiny stamps and dies to create an awesome card that you might not have thought possible to do with the stamp set. So what I'm using is the Dollar Horse stamp set by Neat and Tangled and the Hello Die by My Favorite Things. I also have a panel and I've already drawn an oval with my pencil. And what I'm doing now is I'm laying those tiny stamps from the Dollar Horse stamp set onto that pencil drawn oval to stamp an oval. And of course, first I'm using the twigs to get the basic shape down, and then I'll be using the floral images. I'm using my Misty here, but you do not need the Misty to do that. You can totally do this with an acrylic block. It was just very easy for me because, as you can see, I can pick up a lot of the images at once and stamp them back into position and into the perfect position right away. Now, I was too lazy to add those tiny circles for which there is a stamp to all these twigs, so I just used my Copic multiliner and drew them in. As you saw, they're not perfect, but who cares? Because that really isn't necessary. I am using I think this is Basil Marshmallow card shop cardstock, which is not Copic friendly in the terms that it's not a traditional Copic cardstock. It's more from the texture and weight more towards watercolor paper. And so the ink, the Copic ink feathers. That means it seeps off to the side a little bit. So a stroke is always a little bit thicker than you intended to put down. For my intents and purposes here, I don't mind this at all. This is not going to be a Copic coloring. I am just putting some color down here and doing really basic blending. Like, for example, here I'm just using 2 colors, nothing more. You could just use 1 color even. And so I don't care if it feathers a tiny bit or something. This is nothing where precision is actually warranted, or you need to have that, because that's not going to be the focus of the card. I'm just trying to color it a little bit. And the colors that I'm using are actually from the current challenge over at Seven Hills Crafts. It's a color challenge. We have 3 color combinations from which you can pick one, and I picked the one that was I don't know, it just spoke to me. Well, obviously these are the colors that I'm using. Otherwise I would have failed for the color challenge. I don't know, they just spoke to me. They were kind of soft pastel colors, not very intense, and just a very pleasant combination. At least I thought they were very pleasant. So as you can see me do here, I'm just filling in the blanks. Literally, this is like a little coloring project, very relaxed. There's no right or wrong. And you can see that the stamps were not intended to create a large image like this, but it totally works for that. You could fill it in by just adding a few dots here and there. You could add embellishments to this as well. So there's really no limit to your imagination. And I was very pleasantly surprised to see that I could use my tiny stamps like that. Now, after I did all the coloring, I'm going to die cut into this. Yes. I'm going to die cut into my colored and stamped piece. Actually, it took me quite a while to stamp this. So I'm going to do that. Don't worry. I'm using some Post-it tape here to hold this in place. And after I had die cut this, I have a piece of paper here, and I put double-sided adhesive on this. And I'm pulling off the adhesive here. And this is so when I put the die cut back in, I already have a sticky surface right behind the opening that I die cut. I hope that makes sense, because otherwise you would have to put adhesive on the die cut letters, and that's always messy. So that's why I am doing it like this here. So I've already created a dimensional die cut here. That is, I layered the original die cut piece on 3 or 4 other layers that I also die cut, of course, with the Hello die, and fit that into that opening. And then I'm just using a Wink of Stella very generously to add shimmer to the project. And you could see there's the dimension that I get by layering the die cuts. And I added a strip of pattern paper at the bottom simply for some additional contrast. And here I've also added some sequins by Pretty Pink Posh. These are some of the rose gold sequins, which are just gorgeous. And here's a close-up of that hidden die cut. You can see these tiny images were just perfect to build up this wreath Hope I'm pronouncing this right. And then if you look from the front, you might not even see the die cut at first. So that was so much fun to create. And it's just, I just stared at the card from the side because I was so delighted. I hope you had fun watching the videos. If you liked it, please leave me a thumbs up or a comment, and I'll catch you again soon. Bye bye.